My dad was used to build dinghies. He actually built the Finn dinghy to Paul Elvström that he won the Helsinki Games, the Olympic Games in '56. And he has built all kinds of wooden boats, so from rowing boats to dragons to whatever it was at that time in those days. When he ended up in Vancouver, he was invited on a trimaran. He didn't know what a trimaran was. My dad was a lot into rowing. Scholar was single, double, four, and even eight, and he was on the Canadian Olympic team for rowing. So he liked lightweight hulls, long, slim hulls, and he always hated to build a nice dragon, to build nice wooden monohulls, and at the end of the day they put a lump of keel under it and made it slow, and that always irritated him. And he was invited on this private type trimaran in the early 60s. And he went sailing on the same day. There was a starboat coming out, sailing on a windy day, breezy day, and they just beat the hell out of this starboat on a 26-foot trimaran that didn't look that very nice. Had a toilet and cushions, and it totally turned his way of belief of sailing a boat construction upside down, literally. So that changed his life. For sure. At that time, I'm born in Denmark with my twin sister and my bigger brother, but we moved back and forth from Europe to Vancouver. But at that time, we lived in Vancouver, and my dad started to build trimarans in Vancouver. And when we should go to school, my mother wanted us to go back to Denmark, so we went back to Denmark. It was a 27-foot trimaran. It looked, you can see in our history books, it was very nice, but with fiberglass hulls and with wooden deck, wooden mast, so you can imagine where we were. And the boat was sold before it was finished, and that was basically it. So my dad was there was a lot of press, a lot of interest for this boat, but that's where it ended for many years. So we made a lot of experimental boats, smaller boats, bigger boats. We did a lot of mistakes. That's how you learn, when you burn your fingers, otherwise you don't learn. So we broke masts, we broke beams, we damaged hulls here and there. So we had to learn about hull designs, we had to learn about structures, we had to learn about materials. So we had to build up our knowledge, our own manual how to build trimarans. So just to put me in the picture here, I'm born in '62, so I started in the company full time in '78. So that's about 45, 46, 7 years ago. I worked full time in the company. I took over the company in 1995. The first Dragonfly came in 1980. And then we had to promote our boats. We didn't have any money, so how do you do that? Well, we tried to build some fast boats, do some racing, and get known via the race course and be on the podium as number one. We didn't always succeed, but we succeeded quite often. And slowly we built up our name. And we made a lot of records around Denmark, Sweden, Norway. But to take it to next level, me and my brother Eric, my older brother Eric, we made an agreement that we really had to show outside Denmark what the hell we could do. So we signed up for the Round Britain Island race in 1985. That's a long time ago. I was 23 years old, so I built my 35-foot trimaran, 32-foot wide, with a big, with a very big wing mast section, also foils at that time. And my big brother Eric, he took a standard 25-footer. The Dragonfly made it wider, taller mast. So he was the smallest boat in the race. So we did the race, and nobody knew us. But to make a long story short, it was 100 boats could take part in the race. It's a 2,000-mile race, two-handed only. The toughest race I've ever done. The key for our future with the foaming system. Yeah, and there on, then it then moved on with the 800 swing wing. We came with a 920, the 1000, and so on, so on. Today we're about 60 employees. We export worldwide. We're just us, but it seems we've been very consistent, very stubborn. We have developed our boats very hard always because we love sailing. We love to make nice stuff. So that's probably why we have been successful and why we are here today. So that has been a very long path, and I have to take something into consideration here, because there's something called evolution. Because the first thing, when we did the first 800, the folding one was such a big, overwhelming thing to see a trimaran suddenly fold up, and it was sailing perfectly. So we have had many steps along over all these years. So I can't say that this boat is better than this one, because it's all at that time when we came out with a new product, that was the very best we could do at that time. But of course, over the years, if I go sailing in an 800 now, I'd say, whoa, okay, it's like that, because I forgot it was like that. I don't sail in 800 every day. So we changed safety on the boats a lot. So we changed, because we put on a lot more sail, we changed the hull design and the float design, so the boat are more safe. You can push harder, and that makes the boat more fun. And but like the 800 was fantastic in those years, but that's I wouldn't say that's the best boat today, because they're all good, but they get better and better over time. The newer boats are always better. If we make the new boats not so good, we have a problem. So, but for sure now the 36 is for sure absolutely the best we can do today, for sure. Yeah, it's just called evolution. So we learn about new materials, we learn new stuff, we new production methods. So we raise the bar, yeah, a little bit every day. So but I'm not able to tell you which boat is the best. But for sure, the newer range, when you look 10 years back, the newer ranges are better helmet, better, more safety. You can push them harder. Yeah. So yes, they are sailing better. Yeah. Question to you: how many boats with foils have you seen with inboard diesel, with frigo, with big cushions, stove, coffee machines, blah 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 blah? How many boats have you seen with foils like that? No, but the answer is foiling is a resistance you put into the water, so you need extreme lightweight, extreme light boats. We could put foils on the Dragonfly, it would look sexy. It will probably only be efficient less than 5% of the time. Yeah. Because you need a very lightweight boat to get up going. I have a foiling boat myself, another one also, where I experiment a lot. So I know what it is, but it's also it sounds stupid, but it's also heavy to build on a boat, and it's very expensive. You also have to operate it up and down, and it's another thing that adds complexity to a boat. And you only gain as you need. Let's say you need plus best about 13-14 knots of boat speed. Then you start to get lift, depending on the weight of the boat. It actually starts a bit earlier, but you need a lot of wind, and it's good for you. But it's not much of the time that it will help you actually. Yeah.